got to be joking me. Let's see if that has that fixed it immediately.
Yeah.
Yay!
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. That's the annoying thing. I just went into a different menu. Hello,
we are
everybody.
super low tech to try and get this to work, so the quality will be bad. Michael, is that going to remain the same?
No, it can actually work now. Now I know what the issue is. I can make you massive like that. Keep you on. No, make it all black. Here we go. Give me a few seconds to rearrange, and we can look all fancy again. There we go.
Oh goodness, I'm at 144p. Why am I? No.
That's super high res. Right, hopefully now everybody can
144p. I don't think so.
Yeah, super res. Right, I need. Where are we? That so I can see what's going on. And perfect. Hello, everybody, and welcome. The last 5 minutes
try
did not exist.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fine. This shirt is really dark on camera. Never mind.
But that's fine. So is this one.
Oh yeah. Hey.
This one has Godot shirt.
Yes. Apologies for that, everybody.
That didn't happen.
Had a wobbly.
Can I just say how amazing it is that the week we're doing a launch of a music course, we have no sound.
But what we do have is great engagement. Look at the chat trying to help out.
Look at chat trying to help. Yeah, I've got you, Mikey.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I can turn my camera off. You can just
Hello, Mikey. How are you today?
Oh, it's an excellent Monday. What a start to the week. I've actually got a little anecdote I'd like to start with. So this morning, I turned my robotic Hoover on. I just have it for the office in here. And it goes round, and it's a dumb one, so it's bouncing around the office. And it catches the underside of a light, which falls over. And I'm got headphones on, and I'm like, what the hell was that bang? On the green screen behind me also comes down, dove, and then one of my soundboards falls off the desk against that, so it kind of hits me on the back of the head really gently, because it's a large sail, followed by, nope, slap. And
nice.
The only thing that got broken was my pride sharing this story with you all. So yes, it's been a brilliant day. I'm getting looked at. Hello.
Been a great day.
It didn't knock any sense into me, though.
So yeah, today is 2 streams in 2 days. Professional YouTubers. Today,
yours worked.
We are. I mean, ish. I forgot to put it in the. Never mind. We are launching Mikey's new LMMS course. Now, if you were backing at early access or you're one of our lifetime students, you already had access to what he's done so far. And as far as I understand it, this is still in production, but there's enough of it there that we can now release it. So what I'm going to do, well, first, before we go into it, you might already see this on your, if you pre-ordered and you're one of our backers, you might already see this listed. You might not. It's going through now, so it might be a couple of hours. If you bought it on the Kickstarter, don't buy it again. I mean, you can if you really want to, but don't do it by mistake. If you receive a survey from Kickstarter, it's because we want to check which courses you actually backed. And yeah, that I'll hand this over to Mikey now.
Yes, so the course is being launched today, as Jan said, and it will be available for purchase for everyone. But also on top of that, you should be getting it on your course list very, very soon. The course is called, just for reference, Beginners Making. I can't remember what the course is called. This is wonderful.
I asked Mikey earlier because I was getting ready to do the mail shop.
Yeah,
I was like, Mikey, what's the course called? It's like, I don't know. It's on Canopy.
Making game music for complete beginners. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because the way that we've managed to put the different options that were on the Kickstarter on the site is through a method called bundles. We can't make bundles of bundles, and we don't want to put course data on a bundle, so the course is attached to the bundle. So there is also, which may be a little confusing for people, but just so you're aware, there's the LMMS Action RPG, and that is a bundle that Making Game Music for Complete Beginners is part of. So you should automatically be enrolled in that over the coming hours, and that's the course title you're looking for. In the course itself, we've got the basics of setting up LMMS. Now, during like the beta or the alpha period when we're constructing the course, we had in there both a Mac and a Linux installation video. I've ported the Linux video in a bit more detail and put that over on our YouTube channel where you're watching it right now. And also the Mac version's really straightforward anyway, so I've removed that. The primary reason for that is the different operating systems can act a bit differently when it comes to some of the more extended features of LMMS, like adding extra instruments in. Because the instruments actually aren't LMMS's issue, they are the developer. So whether that's Native Instruments or insert other Spitfire Audio.
Mikey's Instrumpets.
Mikey's Instrumpets doesn't exist, but should do. Because these things are all managed externally, if you try and use them on different platforms, you'll have different results. Now, I'm still looking at potentially doing a YouTube video on something like Native Instruments Contact, getting that working. It can be different on also different distributions. So Linux really brought it home that in the course itself, it'll be primarily focused on obviously just raw LMMS, and I will, towards the end, be using extra instruments. That won't affect you. You just pick an instrument that works on your system. And it also means that there's no dependencies on these other programs. In the course itself, I'll be showing you some of the instruments that I have picked. I say instruments because that's primarily how I use VSTs, but you can also have effects like reverb, chorus, delay, etc., all handled in LMMS. That's the first time I messed that up. And you can also have them externally as well. And there's for beginners, it doesn't really matter. Reverb is going to be pretty much reverb, chorus, etc. But as you get more into it, these other plugins by other developers are often, I don't want to necessarily say better, but often more feature rich, which can become more important as you start your musical aspirations.
Mikey, Mikey.
Yeah.
Do you have a music a video we can show them?
I haven't loaded that onto.
Oh, Mikey's been so busy this week. Mikey, you should get that ready because then when the video's playing, I will officially launch the course and send out the email.
The thing is, if I click the button to set it up, it'll play whatever was there last instead of what we're currently doing.
Well, do we have a... okay, so we're not doing a sales video. Okay, Mikey, you're going to have to recreate the sales video as an interpretive dance.
Hi. No, I'm not that cheesy. Well, what I can do is I can open it up and just play it full screen and everybody will hear
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean go to the webpage.
Well, something people could do. Bear with me a few moments. And then, because we're talking about the Kickstarter, there is a sort of a really important thing that I want to share.
There is a very important thing. Would you like me to talk about it?
Sorry, music just played, and it's the wrong blooming... So there's this setting in Resolve when you're exporting videos that you can set in and out points. And I found... or you can render your entire timeline. And for some reason, an in and out point was set. So when I came to rendering, I rendered out a load of videos that were 8 seconds long. And it was some random points in the video. So if I set this up here, you will see things in a second. Let's come back. Share my main screen and play. Hello everybody and welcome to Making Game Music for Complete Beginners. Now, in this course we are going to use LMMS. It's a free and open source digital audio workstation. What does that mean? Well, it means a place where you can bring together samples and other bits of music,
Mikey,
and even compose music yourself and generate an entire game soundtrack. We're going to start right at the beginning. We're going to set up LMMS and make sure that everything is working as we expect it to, and we'll even export a little piece of music at the end. And then we'll move on to rhythm. Now, rhythm is incredibly important. It's the fundamental basis that most music is built upon. So we'll be focused on learning LMMS and also learning a little bit of theory as we go along. And we'll be putting that together to make your percussion track. And moving on from there, we'll incorporate theory as we go and as we're learning the tool of LMMS. So I look forward to seeing you in the course. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you create, what your compositions turn out like. So make sure you share them with me as we go through. See you in there. So let's hop on over into LMMS. Doesn't quite
Into
work.
LMMS. Okay, Mikey, you have 3 unpublished lectures. Do you want them published as well? It's just asked me as a pop-up.
Ooh, no, I don't. Those are
Okay.
being worked on at the moment with descriptions and stuff. So I will
Thank
leave
you.
them as is and publish them very shortly.
Good, good,
Thank
good.
you.
Okay, so I have pressed publish on the course. So if you haven't pre-ordered the course, you should now be able to do that. If you have, it should already be showing up either already or in the next couple of hours on your Teachable account. As usual, if for some reason we've got the address you've got for Kickstarter, which is the one it gives us, and you
Yep.
want it with another one, contact us through Discord is the easiest way, or through Kickstarter, and we'll fix it for you.
Yep.
And yes, that was all the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is an LMMS course in production that you can now buy, and it's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really the only issue that we have moving from Kickstarter is some people have used a different email address on Kickstarter than they're using on our site. So that should hopefully be just resolved with you sending us through a message. So there we go. The other thing is the action RPG itself. Yep.
So, as some of you know, most of you know, some of you know, a few of you know, nobody knows. You can still back towards stretch goals is open till the end of the month, and today is November the 29th, and there are 30 days in November. We just, as of yesterday, passed the next stretch goal, or I guess now it's the last stretch goal, the most recent stretch goal. And this one is called Make Mikey Cry. No, it's called Character Creation with an extra asset pack of NPCs. My face is all bright now. Character design and creation course, a rigging and animating characters course, implementing dodging and rolling. That's me. Character customization. That's me. And equipping armor and clothing, which I guess is both of us, because there's going to be a blender aspect to that as well.
Yes, there will be. I've just realised that, I was restarting my computer to try and get everything working. I never got round to clicking the publish button on the website. So the next stretch goal is quite a way away.
Are you going to dare them to raise $2,000 in 24 hours? Is that really where you're going right now? Hello,
no,
Gerard.
But I thought it would be fair to let people know that the next stretch goal is an unlikely target to be able to be hit in the next 24 and a bit hours.
Yes, although I do remember the last time we said that, someone did back a suspiciously large amount of money to get us over a stretch goal. So,
which I love.
That
was very kind.
That was incredible.
Yes.
Yep.
But the next stretch goal, I will mention it. It's Off We Go on a Quest with asset pack add-on with towns and villages, more games soundtrack, and then we've got creating a questing system, creating a story, dialogue systems, building your kingdom, and traps and triggers. So there's a lot in that, and it's a far away. If you have a look on the website at the moment, you'll see that I haven't even put the figure in. I've just gone pounds lots.
Nice. So yeah,
but yeah, fantastic.
Excellent work.
I'm really looking forward to diving into the characters. In fact, I'm going to be having a chat with Paul, who's doing the concept art with us, and we'll be talking about the character concepting with him shortly as well. So it'd be amazing to be able to sit down and actually design a character from scratch, bring it over into Blender, and actually start making that, which would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the whole journey. I mean, just from concept art through sketch, model, tweak, rig, texture. Well, we're not doing proper texturing, but apply material.
But applying those materials really help, yes.
And then over into coding, animate, control, code, AI, if they're AI. I mean, there's a lot there.
Yeah. I mean, just bringing it all together. Now, obviously, what this will do is move some things further down the line, because obviously character creation, I'm going to be working on that anyway. with
Mhm.
Jan to actually bring a character into Godot. So I'm going to bring in the character creation much sooner than I was going to, so that
Yep.
we've got the character ready to play around with, and that's
I mean, this is part
key.
of why we needed that gap, right? It's because there's a bunch of assets and asset
Exactly.
packs we have to get ready before we can actually start making the coding course. We learned that beforehand.
Yes, we definitely want to be in a position. So with Godot Getaway, we were in this absolutely amazing position that we were ready to create a game, but the timing was such that I was creating Blender assets. Jan had all the sort of like placeholder assets, and so the coding course ended up with a ton of placeholder assets, which isn't a problem. But
It felt great, and then I saw the final Blender assets. It's like, oh, I should have waited.
But yeah, we want to try to avoid the majority of that this time round. So
Yeah.
when it comes to sort of like working in the dungeon, we'll start designing things basically around how the course will be taught with the Godot, so that assets are basically ready for it. And I
Yep.
think Jan and I will sit down after the stream and actually go through some of those options and try and work out where these things are going to slot in properly.
Hello, Jenny. It's great to see you. Jenny very kindly pointed out to me that I have told people that if they backed all 3 courses, they should be seeing it in their accounts now or in a few Horus. As we all know, this is not a typo. Horus is an ancient Egyptian deity, and if you see a few of them, at that point you'll have access to your LMMS course. Look, I'm very frazzled. It's been a long few days. Mike's had a long week.
Well, it's the beginning of the week, Jan. This is part of the fun, or when you work for yourselves, essentially, there is no weekend. There's none of this 9 to 5 stuff. So I take my weekends once a month. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Could you imagine that? Just 8 days off at the end of the month. I could do that.
I think the other 3 weeks would kill you. It'd be like working on an oil rig, I guess. There was something quite... So, some of you know we did a stream yesterday for the Godot Jam festival, where I did a 45-minute game challenge, which I managed with 30 seconds to go-ish. And then today we fire up the stream and we're all ready. We've got this and we're doing all the paperwork and getting all the mail shot and we're all professional.
Yeah.
And then we go live and I start singing a very stupid song and then we're like, Mikey, there's no sound. Why is there no sound? I haven't changed anything. I don't know. We spent the entire time going, but nothing's changed.
I literally do the same thing every week. I press OBS twice, once so Yang can see me separately and live because of the stream delay and everything, and then I just go to the other one and click on my button and press stream, and it didn't work. Why?
It did not.
These things are sent to test.
So yeah, that's the thing. Now you also mentioned you wanted to talk about some gameplay things. You mentioned it to me, not to you people.
Yes. So there's been the Golden Joystick Award, I think it was recently, and I thought it was a prime example of almost what not to do. I'll see if I can pick it up quickly. But I believe with Golden Joystick, let's have a look. Quick look. Golden Joystick Award. They had a couple of categories. They had a category. Well, they had lots of categories, in fact. But they had one that was the ultimate game of all time.
You mean the last one ever made?
Well, that's what that actually means.
Right. It's like, that's it. This is the ultimate one. No more games.
But they put it as Dark Souls.
Why? Murder Pac-Man.
I don't know, but it's interesting. I don't know if anybody watching at the moment has actually caught up with the Golden Joystick Awards or anything along those lines. But
I could make a case for Rogue, the original 1980s Rogue that spawned all the roguelikes. I could make a case for Minecraft, which spawned the entire survival genre as we know it today. There were survival games before Minecraft, but that really, like, Ark and Atlas and all these other survival games owe so much to Minecraft.
Yep.
I can make a case for Space Invaders. I can make a case for Pong, just for getting so many people in the 80s into video games.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark Souls is great, but ultimate game of all ultimates.
Part of me wonders whether whether they would have been better off. 'Cause we're humans; we like sticking things in pigeonholes, and it's it's weird to just see one game because if we include the likes of Pong, etc., and go right back, we're talking 40, 50 years of gaming history.
I'll go even further. Why are we only doing video games? We have 5,000 years of gaming history.
That's a very good point.
Thank you. It's one of mine.
But it pays to be specific. So you could say, what was the ultimate game of the 80s? Ultimate game of the 90s, but the one that was
And even then,
on
you're going to have a lot
December
of fights. Like,
yeah, I mean, I could totally get. I mean, they did break things down as well as like what's the best storyteller, what's the best multiplayer game, audio, visual design, etc. But I don't see anything in there in terms of genre. You know, what was because I wouldn't want to separate things out. I'd want to maybe to make what do I think is the best RPG, or what do I think is the best first-person shooter.
well, even then, I mean, some of the things that people enjoy out of Dark Souls are things I don't particularly enjoy, like that very punishing difficulty. I understand it. I too find that most $60 games are simply too easy for me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like I'm such a great gamer. I'm just like I'm not enjoying this because I finished this thing too quickly, and
Yes.
it feels like there's no real reason to play this. But I found things like Dark Souls, and more so things like Cuphead, so punishing that I don't even want to go near it.
Well, that I was going to say ultimately, I won't do, but there is a great difference between how people play games and why people play them. So if you want a great storytelling, I remember when playing The Last of Us, I played it twice so that I could have a story and not care about surviving. So I played it through on easy to begin with. The next time, I just cranked the difficulty up all the way because I wanted a hardcore gaming survival experience, which is totally different from listening to a story. I know, for instance, that I'm hyper competitive. If we were to put me and ask what type of game, if you had no other choice but to have one game, it would be something like the likes of Counter-Strike, where I know it's a game that I enjoy. I mean, I might like it when I'm older and I'm really slow on reacting, but I'm still pretty good at the game, and I really enjoy that sort of like getting up the scoreboard. But I also like really long form games and discovery.
Because I like very open-ended sandbox games with no real objective. RimWorld is great. Ark, as many of you know, I'm a huge fan of, although I haven't played it in about a year and a half. And Mikey actually got very frustrated with Ark just because it takes so long to do anything. And then once you've done it, it's like, okay, what's next? Well, we could do it again. But I don't want to do it again. I've done it.
And it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't an attention span thing, because we're talking about well, how long does it take to train this dinosaur? Oh, it's really low level, and by default, what does it take? Like 2 days to tame.
Well, no, the low level ones are like half an hour, but half
still,
an hour is a decent chunk of time.
Where you have to stand next to this object and make sure that I mean ultimately,
especially if they want you to do it in an open PvP setting, so someone else can kill your dinosaur. Like I'm not doing that.
That's a bit toxic and sucky, but you know that's I suppose how the game was designed.
Actually, I tell you, my vote for the greatest game of the past, I'm gonna say 15 years, is probably Space Station 13. And I got reminded of this recently because I started playing Barotrauma after the autumn sales, and Barotrauma is very much a spiritual successor of Space Station 13. In fact, it's the first game I know of that's broken the curse of Space Station 13, which is every game that's tried to make a sequel of this thing has gone under spectacularly, like just exploded into flames, including Centration, which was made by one of the original developers of Space Station 13 and just died a death. Like, could not get out of tech demos.
I think I agree with John here that there are way too many variables. That hits the nail on the head. And he also says that Dark Souls is an odd choice. I mean, I like
what Dara Breen pointed out about Dark Souls, which is it's basically Pac-Man. You're wandering through a dark maze with ghosts trying to kill you, trying to find shortcuts. Like, I've played this before.
It's just without the whack.
Space Station 13 was a very young game because it was incredibly detailed simulation. of lots of very intricate places with lots and lots of people playing, and random chaos and odd modes. My favorite gaming moment of all time in that game, maybe even of my game of all time, was when I was playing in the mail and supply room, and I was standing at the counter for requisitions, and the ship's morale officer, the clown, came up to me and said, "I want a combat mech." And I said, "No." He said, "But I want one." And I said, "No. Why can't I have one?" "Because I need a requisition form." So he went and got a piece of paper in the game and wrote on it in the game, "I want a combat mech." And he handed it to me. He went, "Honk. I want a combat mech." So I got my denied stamp and I stamped it and I gave it back to him. And he went, "Why?" He said, "Because this isn't a requisition form. This is a piece of paper." So he went and got a requisition form and he wrote, "I want a combat mech." And he gave it to me and I stamped it with denied and gave it back. "Why?" "You need to get this stamped by the senior bridge crew." "Well, who's the senior bridge crew?" "You know, like the captain or the head of security." "Oh, okay." He wanders off. 2 minutes later, all the alarms are going off and security go running past me. There's a lot of gunfire. And then the clown comes back wearing the captain's uniform, on which he's written, "I want a combat mech." So I get the denied stamp and I stamp him on the head, which the game allows you to do. And everywhere he goes, his description says, "has denied" stamped on his head. He gets quite upset with me. He comes back a few minutes later in the security chief's uniform, shoots me, breaks into the office, requisitions of combat mech, and just wanders around terrorizing people in it. It was amazing.
Oh, that's a great example of a highly systemic game where the
Right.
systems work together incredibly well, and that is one
And
of
when
the
they don't,
fundamental
that's part
challenges.
of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people who played that game who did nothing but work in atmospherics, trying to keep the atmosphere right. Or would occasionally, if one of them was a traitor or they were bored, just switch it out with flammable gas.
why is the ship gone boom?
Yep. Skyrim. I have mixed feelings about Skyrim. Skyrim is an amazing game. I have hundreds of hours in it. But that intro?
Oh, when you're in the back of the
Oh,
spoiler alert, just in case you haven't played this 10-year-old game, whatever it is. You mean when you sat in the cart and you're just on a
well,
scripted
spoiler is
event?
the intro. Yeah. You're sat in the cart for like 5 minutes while people talk at you, and then eventually you can get out and do things. You can mod it so you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
Well, the original, okay, the one before, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, you had to go through the sewer repeatedly. It was only after my second playthrough that I thought, hang on a minute, can't I just get to the exit of the sewers and create a save game? Because then it asks you if you want to confirm
But
all
here's
your
the thing.
choices.
Get through the end of the sewers is not the same as sit on a cart while people talk at you for 5 minutes.
This is true.
Yep. They do indeed have mods for that. And the mods are good, although there was a whole piece of drama about that mod on Nexus. And the mod creator pulled it off Nexus, I believe, because they changed the terms of service.
That was detailed. I'm clueless as to what it was.
I used to play a lot of Skyrim.
But yeah, moddable games are absolutely fantastic. Kerbal Space Program is one that I've played. I've modded. I've modded so it's no longer the game; it's a completely different game.
Oh yeah.
And the same with Oblivion. I really played that and modded, and I remember that. I think the game took up like 16 gigs of RAM by the time I'd finished adding all the mods. I was like, this is going pretty hard on the computer.
Skyrim in VR, I hear great things about. Death Stranding, I hear good things about. I really loved Elite Dangerous, right up until my controller broke, because I had a HOTAS. Yeah. And playing Elite with a throttle and a stick with 23 buttons, so you never have to use the keyboard, is amazing. And I had a little head tracker thing on my headset, so I moved here and it would track my view on the monitor.
Oh no!
So it wasn't VR, but it was really, really well done. But the moment you started playing like that, and it's like, oh, this is broken. I don't want to spend £150 on a new one.
Just it is for a
Just
game.
use the keyboard and mouse. But this game is very different on a keyboard and mouse. But that was a great game for just doing supply runs, basically Euro Trucker in space while listening to podcasts.
Yes, I've tried to get into Elite Dangerous. I've tried to get into X3 or X4. Can't remember which one it is I have now. And I've often started these games, but you're right. The control system is not good unless you've got. Well, for me anyway, I don't find it very intuitive. Now, one game that I did find incredibly intuitive to use the mouse to control was a spiritual successor to Free Space, and I can't remember what it's called.
Pong.
No, it wasn't Pong. It was by Microsoft Game
Wing
Studios.
Commander?
No. It was very much in the same ilk as everything else. You're essentially either a taxi service or a cargo ship, and you do some runs to, or a pirate hunter. So you're either
A lot of people, Hyper Red said most people said it was boring. A lot of people did say it's boring, and I can see why. I really enjoyed the atmosphere of it, but I am quite happy to sit there, chilled out in space, with a huge cargo ship with no shields, and just glide it through the air or through vacuum in a very precise way. But it's not everyone's game. Vampire Bloodlines was an awesome game. I really enjoyed that one way back in the day. I don't think I would play it again now because I think it's one of those games that is not going to live up to the nostalgia.
I've had that moment. I mean, when good old games first came on the scene, I downloaded games like Faith, Interstate 76. These are games that in my childhood I was like, I absolutely love these games. But I also didn't have the computer to run Interstate 76 properly. And then it was not supported again, so I didn't really want to go ahead and install Windows XP and try and get it running. But anyway, you come back to them later on, and especially Thief, that has not aged well. The control mechanics and everything are really, really clunky. I mean, it's still a great game, but you kind of have to forgive it.
I read an interesting article about this, about the release or re-release of the GTA trilogy.
Oh, the recent
And the
one.
journalist was saying the problem is these games came out when I was 14, and they were a huge part of my childhood, even though it wasn't legal in the UK to play them when you're 14. And no game can match my memory. Like, the graphics are not good. The control system is insane. The dialogue is repetitive. The humor is puerile.
But that works when you're
14. He had these incredible memories of things that happened, and they didn't happen in the remaster. And he went back and checked, and they didn't happen in the original either. He'd made them up in the meantime, and they'd just become part of the mythos. And that's like, nostalgia does weird things to games.
Really, really going back to the days of my Amiga, I remember playing Shadow of the Beast 2. Watching replays of it these days, nope. I cannot see me enjoying
it. A game
that
that did age very well for me is Puzzle Bobble.
Yep, and Bubble Bobble.
Bubble Bobble too. I mean, that was an amazing platform game. I played hours and hundreds of hours of that with my friend and my sister, who remained one of the few people to ever get me off a computer when she wanted to play, and I was hogging the control, which she did by licking her hand and then licking my face. And I was just sitting there like, and she grabbed the controller from me and just started playing. Speaking of, I have added something that I would like you to try on this prototype I'm making. So for those who don't know, I'm currently working on my next mini course, which is Tuki Bubble. Might change the name, but I like Tuki Bubble, which is a Bubble inspired clone, although with none of the local multiplayer, mostly because that turns it from a mini course to a slightly bigger course, and also I don't have anyone in the house to test it with me.
I'm just pulling the project now.
I mean, giving more bugs than the original is kind of classic GTA, Roderick. I don't know if that's a demaster. I think that's just how they do now.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I have a lot of thoughts about GTA. I really enjoy GTA 5 in many ways, but that game is designed to promote toxic behavior.
Yes, it's a real... I don't play it that much, and it's something that I've got a few...
I mean, now that I'm Linux, I'm not even sure I can. But
the Rockstar launcher might not work.
Although I did reinstall Hitman 2, and it runs flawlessly on Proton.
Nice. Yeah, I want to play it, and I know the last time I was in there was someone on the server just running around dropping huge stacks of money. I think it was trying to get you banned or whatnot.
Okay, share your screen.
I'm working on that. I need to find OBS. I've hidden it. I've hidden it somewhere.
So this was in response to... So our lifetime members have access to this prototype while I'm getting it ready. This is in response to Chris. Chris pointed out that he's moderately colorblind and was having trouble with the game. It's actually quite stressful. So I've added an option.
Here we go. So you guys and Jan should both see the screen.
Can
so
do.
go ahead and click play. So one thing that I learned the other day, this is brilliant when Jan was showing me, and I am going to just leave it here so everybody can experience it. I do love this little animation.
Do we have game sound? Yeah, we do.
And then, who's like, wait for it?
Okay, so here's the fun bit. Start the game. 10 colors is fine.
You told me, oh, can I delete? Oh,
Yeah,
I'd
you
like
can.
5 fruits.
Go for it.
Ah,
Okay, go to options. Go to symbols mode.
how about that?
I've made it optional because if you're not colorblind, this can feel a bit crowded. But it means that if you have trouble distinguishing certain colors, you're no longer stressed out by having to match them. You can just match the shapes. They're not the best designs I've ever done, but they're all Unicode shapes that I could just quickly put in. And I think they're pretty recognizably different.
Yeah, I mean,
I've not seen Free Guy. Mikey was telling me I should.
I think it's, I think it's absolutely amazing. I was in
There is
hysterics.
no time counter, but the ceiling does drop.
Ceiling drops every 10 turns still?
I mean, Mikey's also on redonkulously easy mode. Like, I don't know why he's playing on this mode. Go up to 10.
Okay. You just want to see me suffer.
Main menu.
Main menu. I don't know how to use menus.
What are you doing?
I'm pressing stuff. Right.
I keep telling him to install a controller as well, but he doesn't listen to me.
I don't know where my dongle is.
Sorry?
Yep, you heard. Welcome to Schoolyard, Jan.
Yep. You're right, Kaiser, there is no time counter, but every 10 shots, the whole thing moves down.
Like that. There we go.
Mhm. And actually getting that to work correctly was quite a pain. As was, by the way,
No.
figuring out neighboring bubbles using a hex grid. Because the offset is different on odd and even rows, not columns.
Although there were more of those, I should have noticed that. So we were playing this the other day, and I got very confident, didn't I? But I started focusing just on one side, and I thought I had it, and then the other side, it just crept up on me far too quickly.
By the way, I've received word from an 8-year-old. The panda's name is Peachy.
Peachy the Panda? I like it.
You don't have to play in symbols mode if you don't want, by the way. It will update.
I want to, I want to get the bubbles down low so we can see what happens to the panda. Doing.
You like the freak out panda, do you? Oh,
Yes.
nice shot.
A shocking shot. Oh, triangles. Hey.
Nice.
Of course, if I play well, can I get? Yes, I can. It's always difficult with these games to. Oh, that wasn't the right piece. It's always difficult to work out what shots will actually work and which ones might.
I mean, you get a feel for it. Don't forget you can nudge.
Oh, can I shoot through there? I wish I could. Not the colliders aren't quite. Oh, I was looking on the wrong side. That was silly of me.
What program did I use to make the art? I used Sprite.
So A Sprite, not Libra Sprite. I thought you were using that.
Sorry, I used Libra Sprite, which is the free and open source fork of Sprite. Mostly because I didn't know if I was going to enjoy using it enough to actually pay the money. And also because if we ever do a course on this, most people tend to enjoy it when we use free and open source software. I like panicking Peachy.
I'm panicking now. Oh, that was really poor.
What are you doing?
Just making sure the game has a game over state, of course.
Oh, he's using the wrong animation. Oh well.
Also,
Got a new high score, which tells me you haven't played this much.
well, I've just cleared my cache when I pulled.
Okay.
So there we go. Do.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun things going on there. The bubbles are represented in 3 ways. They are rigid bodies when you fire them, they are tile maps when they arrive, and they are particles when they fall. That's a fun little...
that's a great example of smoke and mirrors in games. That you swap things out for when you need them. It reminds me a lot of when I see people trying to make a Blender animation or any animation, and they've got one big scene with everything in it, and they've positioned the camera specifically for this shot, and they're trying to manage, let's say, a 90-second short, all on one timeline, instead of basically storyboarding it out first, making sure you know what needs to be in the scene, and then doing your 90 or 100 frames of that particular cut.
Yep.
New scene, and then you can come back later and iterate on those as well. So yeah, smoke and mirrors, it doesn't all have to be in one place, doesn't all have to be one thing. And swapping out those bubbles is a really clever solution.
Well, because having them in a tile map solves a lot of problems. They weren't originally tile maps, they were all rigid bodies, but they didn't stack properly. And you want that stacking. And specifically, they're a hexagon stack.
It needs to be in that grid arrangement. Otherwise...
I'm a touch too loud compared to Mikey. I like to think that I'm just more forthright and open and honest than Mikey, who's all quiet and hiding things.
I might have made you very quiet.
Why did you do that?
Why, Mikey? Why?
Mikey's in charge of the volume. I'm sorry.
Because I can. I blame Jan. I don't know why, but I blame Jan for... It must be a Linux thing.
Nice. For those of you who don't know why there's a tiger, there was a stream yesterday, and I was hosting it, and I don't have Mikey's multiple OBS system. So Mikey was audio only, so to represent Mikey, I used the tiger puppet.
I thought it was spot on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, there's some fun things we're doing in that code that we will do in the little mini course. Getting the aiming to show actually where is the bubble going to stop, not where can the ray get to.
Because obviously that's different, because the bubble is wider than a infinitesimally small ray.
And swapping the symbols out is a good one. High scores, config files. I like config files. They're really good.
What do you like best about them? What's your favorite thing?
Okay, so beforehand, when I was using something like a JSON file,
yeah,
if I wanted to add in a new thing that we're going to save, for instance, symbol mode, are you using symbol mode, which I added today? I had to instruct everybody to go into their user file and remove the config file. Or write some code to say, this isn't in here, wipe it and replace it.
Fair enough.
With a config file, you could just say, by the way, load up these settings. If you find one that isn't there, just use the default that's in this code.
Yeah. Well, that is so useful. You also then don't have errors because it's just populating something with a default field rather than...
I can just tell it, this is the default value, and load that in, save it. That's now there forever.
Nice. So the code would be, if this field already exists, go to the next one. If not...
I can show you if you want to see the code.
Yeah, sneak peek.
Yep. Sneak peek. Okay, 1 second. Boobles. Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Let me know when you're ready. There it is. I need to switch over, so bear with me a moment. There we go. Cool.
Okay, so here in my game state, we have lots of things. But the main big one we have is we have a default settings, which is a dictionary of dictionaries, which will open up a config file, which will be open data folder. There we go. So it's just a config file, and it has headers and it has values. So the header is a dictionary, and within that there's another dictionary. So we have those. So I've got my default settings that I've just written here, including your default high scores, and I've got your settings. We're just going to load these in with null values. On ready, we're going to load settings, which looks like this. If there's an error, if I've told you to load the code and you've got an error, any error at all, I don't care what it is, then go make me a new one. And that's just, there's now a file on the drive that we specified. There is now a config, there's now a settings.cfg.
Yeah.
Okay. For settings, or for section, in the settings keys. So for each section, go through each key and load up what's in the file. And here's the best bit. You get the value for the section, for the key, and the default settings section and key, which is the thing we wrote right here. Yeah. So if at any time I need to add something in, like symbols is false, it's just going to work without an error, and the user will never even know that it's been changed.
Nice.
I'm coming out of streaming mode now, Mikey.
Beep. I now need to push buttons, which I've hidden again, because I'm a genius.
Yep. It's probably because I wasn't loud enough compared to you.
I could leave us like that. That saves me having to move anything around. What have I shot? Hello.
Hello.
Right. Let's put you back.
So yeah, for those of you who joined us late, you should have got an email, hopefully, but there's the new LMMS course, which has just been launched, part of our Your Godot 4 Action RPG Kickstarter. It's the first of the big courses, because Mikey's starting with the music, and I'm waiting on Godot 4 before I can do any work on it. Mm-hmm. And it's still in production, but you can, if you've not already backed on the Kickstarter, you can get it now. If you have, it's either already in your courses, or it will be there in a couple of horrors.
And if you don't have it, give us a shout over on the Discord. It's really important. So we can make
But
sure
Mikey,
you get
we have a Discord. How will they get there?
Through this link.
We're so professional. Where Boom? I don't see Boom.
Well, I have a shortcut for it, so I can just type in
there.
Yeah, exclamation mark Discord. There we go. Yeah. Yes. I'm really looking forward to actually hearing what people create in the music. I loved what happened when we did it with Godot Getaway. There are some amazing pieces that people were sharing, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
I mean, I really like seeing what some people did with Canopy.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
And of course, most of these things can always be built on as well. So we aim to always give you the fundamentals that you're going to need to build other music from. And I appreciate that some students will want a verbatim course. So I'm going to be mainly focused on medieval music throughout the course, because that's the style of music we want in our game.
And it's what we tend to listen to on our time off.
Exactly. Remasters in the medievals.
Just bardcore. It's a thing.
I do want to be able to do something in the synthwave genre. So we're going to have to, next year sometime, we're going to have something on that.
Why? I mean, at least it's not jazz, but never gone to synthwave. I mean, probably because I was, a goth. But
I mean, maybe there's some metal synthwave. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
I just want to make a game that's full of...
Early industrial would be metal synthwave. I mean, that's basically Duran with a headache.
Oh, well, some synthwave ends up being very much just 80s music if you're not too careful. When they really started going for the electronic scene, but still keeping I want to say a rock aesthetic. I don't know what the musical term for aesthetic is at the moment. Sound.
Aesthetic is fine.
Yeah, it works.
Aesthetic doesn't just relate to the visual look of something.
Cool. You learned that here first, or I did.
Oh, I learned it at college, but yeah.
That's fair enough. We are coming up to the hour, despite our issues starting the stream. So this would be a great time if anybody has any questions to fire away, whether it's
Just
about
questions.
just questions,
What-
answers,
What
sequences,
about all the other things?
dances, rubber
The
chickens.
jingles. You want to see a photo of Gothyan? Oh God, hang on a minute.
Yeah, I want to see a photo of this. Oh, look,
There are not many. I will tell you that right now. I have never liked seeing myself in images.
I am very thankful that I grew up and went to university in a time when digital photography was still in its infancy.
Okay, I will point out that I wasn't always old and fat. This is me at 28.
How are you sharing this? Like that. Okay. The easiest way for me to do this is to bring this over.
Yep.
And then go main screen and hide OBS.
There
There we go.
Doopy doopy. Yep. So yeah, that was me at 28. I was about to go clubbing. Maybe put me in shot.
Are you not in shot?
There we go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You're delayed. That's all.
I am delayed.
I like the armor.
Clubbing. Yeah, I like the armor too. You can't see it here, but I was wearing UV contacts, so if they get hit by UV light, they would glow blue, which really freaked people out. I tended not to put the lipstick on until I got in, just because it was the early 2000s, and it got me into a lot of fights on buses, which I was happy to do, but it wasn't really why I was going out. So
You had armor on.
I had right, like at a certain point, the cops gonna go. So they started it, did they? Like, so yeah, I was a cyberpunk. I was a cybergoth, in fact. I was going out to Slimelight or the Electric Ballroom, one of the two, and I did need a bookshelf. And stopping my stream now.
I can be too.
Last year, I wish.
I'm not going to.
I haven't had long
OBS.
hair in. Okay.
Sorry.
I haven't had long hair in 10 years now. Since I started going thin up top, and I remember the balding guy with a ponytail. I'm not being that guy. I am not going out like that. No, 28 was. Well, I'm 45 now. I can't do that in my head. I'm too old.
I need an abacus.
Yeah. Now, some of that Mikey and I both know once told me, but yeah, and you're as old as you feel. Like, that doesn't make me feel any better at all. I feel 90. Nothing works. Like, my hand keeps seizing up.
I've heard all of these comedians joke about when you get to 40 and then they list all of these things that happen. I'm like, it's true. It's not funny anymore.
Now I'm an old dad to 2 cats. I'm exactly that. And Toucan.
Ta-da! I'm sad to say that I have never been a goth.
I'm sad to say you've never been a goth.
I was amazed at them.
I mean, in fairness, I was a cybergoth, so it was a lot more Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Ministry than it was Typo Negative.
Some of those things went right past me.
I'm trying to remember who did Corrosion. Sisters of Mercy. There we go.
Yes, I remember.
That was a great song.
It was amazing. So this is going back a long time. Yeah, nearly 20 years. That's scary. So we're going back about 17, 18 years ago, and it was quite empty. But when I say the goths, they're people with the big boots and armored belts and everything else. But all I could see, really, because they were dancing in complete unison, was this giant, ominous black jellyfish. And I was just like, that is phenomenal.
Very Cthulhu.
And no, I wasn't on anything. That's genuinely what it looked like.
Well, I keep trying to get hold of my friend Clem, who was with me during my cybergoth phase and was also a goth and used to hand make chainmail, which I believe he still does, but he's gone steampunk now.
Okay.
Because he does Foley work in his spare time. And I keep saying to him, we could really do with a sound design course. And his wife's like, yeah, you should do that. It's like, I have a day job and a kid. I'm like, yeah, I don't care about that.
No. Oh, brilliant. Well, I hope
turntables and a microphone.
I hope we can convince him one day to join
Glenn
the
is
parade.
lovely. Really nice guy. Like one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Nice. Right.
People.
I'm going to start the countdown. If there are no other questions, we can wave frantically. Yan can say end it or quit it.
What? How do you not know what I shout?
I've slept since then.
Press it.
I don't even know what window it's on. This could be a long sign off.
The amount of times he's left me hanging there going.
Right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this evening. I really hope you enjoy the music course. Do share what you make. I absolutely love it when people do. And, we'll see you.
And smash that like button. I'm not doing that. And
hit
thank
subscribe
you for
and the
being
notification bell.
And we think you're great. And for those of you who celebrate it, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And those of you who don't, I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. And bye!
I might have just ended that because I forgot we were recording the screen. So anyway,